Welcome to episode 6 of Weaverbirds Live TV with me, Karen Weaver, and
me, Emma Weaver. I'm back.
She's back. We missed you so much last. We really, really did. And you missed Sinead. You came in to chat to me about friendship and but Emma, oh my goodness, what a 2 weeks it's been. Holy moly.
I know, honest to goodness, but I know, and it felt so strange last week, and I missed Sinead, and the crack would have been absolutely brilliant, so we'll get her back on when there's the three of us and have a bit of fun with that.
We will get you back on. Sinead, if you're watching, hello and thank you. So lots has happened in the past week, 2 weeks, obviously. We've been doing a lot of work with Think Network, which is getting ready to take on the world. We're doing lots of things behind the scenes with Weaverbirds. So can you get us updated on how you're doing after your procedure and things like that so that everybody can know?
Well, I'm still here, which I suppose is the main thing, and I can talk this week, which is good. So, everything's going okay. It didn't go as well as I'd hoped it was going to go, but it went okay, and looking for a good outcome. So we'll wait and see. It's just one of those things, but good form, good mood, and all is well so far.
Yay! So you know what it's like, Emma, isn't it? It's a journey, and sometimes it doesn't go according to plan. But once we're all here together, and I'm sure you felt all the love, and I'm sure with us saying that you got a procedure done, lots of people were connecting with you and saying, "Hey, what's going on?" The curiosity.
Yeah, but no, it's all good. It's one of those things, as you say, it's a journey, and we'll get there absolutely.
It is. And all that healing love is working, because look at you sitting here glowing this week. I absolutely adore it. So lots of other things happened last week, so we won't go into it too much. But this week we're going to be talking about our story. And have we not used our stories to really have an impact in our lives and the lives of others? And it takes courage, doesn't it, Emma?
It definitely does, and I tell you, I'm quite a closed person, quite private, and I never intended really to tell people. And I would be going through things and wouldn't tell anybody, and then afterwards I might kind of slip it in. I never thought I would write a book about it, do a TED talk on it, and then another part of my life then write a chapter about that in your book, The Miracle of Intent. So I kind of got into the flow now of understanding, and it is understanding how your story, regardless how you feel about it or anything, can impact, shine a light and help others in a profound way that you cannot even imagine. People need to hear your stories.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think it's a bit of an Irish thing, and also it's in Australia, it's a worldwide kind of thing. You're just getting on with doing life, and don't understand how important your story is to share with others, and in the world, because it will help others to inspire them, to guide them, but just creating the conversations that people are uncomfortable having, and show up and do that, and it does take courage. If you're watching, which there are many of you watching, I'm going to challenge you to write 1 or 2 sentences in the comments of something about your story, and be courageous. Come on, we're asking you to join us here, because we've been courageous for everyone to share our stories, and it kind of feels a bit exposing, doesn't it, at the time? But whenever you see what happens when you show up and share your story. But please, write in the comments something that's about your story, so that we can get to know you better.
It's healing as well. Whenever I started writing the book or talking about my story as well, and as you say, it starts conversations. You bring those people gravitate towards you that need to hear the story, and it helps you and them. And you do have to be brave. And look, we're all humans. Everybody is human. We're all on different journeys, but we're all on a journey. And your story, like physiologically, even in your brain, what it does to be able to talk about things, it heals you. It puts a different perspective on it, and it allows you to be more open to other things as well.
Oh my God, it is. Hey, who knew we were so wise?
I always knew that long ago.
You know, life's an adventure, and I adore the adventure of life, and you know, we set our goals and our intentions for life, and we weave our ways through life. Hey, you see that?
Yeah.
We weave our way weave our way through life, but whenever we stop and collect what where we've got up to and then share, it's amazing. But also, if when you write your story, you're doing it as much for yourself as you are for others.
Yeah.
And that's why even just showing up for yourself and being that courageous to feel those feelings that are going to come to the surface, to be shared with the world. Even in doing that, never mind shared it with the world. That is one of the most powerful things that you will do in your lifetime, isn't it, sis?
Oh, definitely. And I mean, it's not that you have to go around telling everybody everything all the time, but writing it down or certainly having a conversation about it, whether it's on a podcast. Like, look what happened to me in the podcast. That's how then I wrote the chapter in the Miracle Intent. I know we talked about that before, but now that I've got that out there, I'm talking about it all the time. I was on Think Network today and I was talking about resilience, and again the same part of my journey that came up in your book was spoke about again, and it's something that I probably never really talked about for years. So it's very freeing. Freeing is a really good word when you start telling your story, because then nobody can hold it to you. You've owned it. You've owned
Mm-hmm.
it, and there's a big difference. And that is definitely something that I have found since I started writing my stories, I suppose, because we all have different parts of our lives that we talk about in that. And I found it very empowering, very freeing, and very humbling in the sense that other people come to you and say, I went through something similar. When I read
Yeah.
your book, it really helped me to understand. I'm now going to tell people, that I've been through it. And you're just a wee tiny, tiny, tiny part, but it's giving people a bit of hope too as well.
It is. It opens the door for others, So that's being an inspired leader is sharing, and it does take courage. So, guys, we have a treat for you this week. We have the wonderful Adria Peters, who is going to come and talk to us about the science of story. She wrote the book on it, and we adore this lady, and she shares the most amazing insights into story. And we're going to bring her on in a minute. She's waiting in the wings. Hey, Adria.
Oh, love Adria. Oh my goodness.
We love her. We love her.
Yeah.
So there's a few comments here. Some people have shown up and being brave. Hey,
Oh,
Trevor. Well done.
Trevor, good
Awesome.
man. Very, very good.
Trevor says, I am writing a book on my mental health. Hopefully, it will reach out to other men on mental health.
It will.
That is so important.
Yeah.
And huge kudos to you
Yeah.
for taking that step. Just stick with it. The writing process can be, but stick with it and you'll get there. And congratulations. Wonderful.
It's very good.
Melissa Joy Billman has said, part of my story is that I was never gifted the gift of physical motherhood, which left me feeling inadequate for a very long duration of my life. Melissa, huge hugs to you, and you are one of the most amazing humans who me and Emma have got to know in Ireland in 2019, and we feel
And
you,
on
but
Clubhouse. She's
and on
unbelievable.
Clubhouse,
Clubhouse.
yes.
Oh, blew me away last Saturday. Unbelievable.
Yeah, amazing human. You have such a gift to give, and you're just amazing. So well done, and thank you for showing up and sharing. And Emma, do you not see the comments? Okay, I'm
No.
going to share. Chloe Weaver has shown up.
God, I can't see the comments. What did she say?
Chloe says, "Be the person you once needed. Has always motivated me in shaping my story."
She's
Oh,
so good.
she is a wise soul. I adore Chloe. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's good.
Okay, we're going to bring Adrian to join the conversation. We know that everyone is just going to adore this woman. I'm going to have to move a few banners, so give me a second.
The
Otherwise, we're going to disappear. Welcome, Adrian.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Can you hear me okay? I have my little my microphone.
Oh, that's not a little. Here's mine. Hello.
I don't even have one. I'll just use it.
Oh, it's so good. There's not a lot of background noise today, but sometimes there is. So it's good to have.
You're
It's
beautiful.
lovely to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. I love you too, as you well know. I express it as often as I can. I just absolutely love you.
Adria, you are our adopted sister for this week, so welcome into the family. And you're joining us all the way from Vermont. You know, we just take for granted because we know where you are, but everybody watching may not know. So yeah, Adria is joining us from the beautiful Vermont. So how is it over there?
It's still winter here, very much so. In Celsius, not above 0 in Celsius. No. Yeah, so there's still a good foot of snow on the ground here. So we have, while everybody's, you know, getting into the rhythm of spring and autumn, we're still going to be in winter for the next couple of months. Yeah. You have to, we call it Vermont tough here. And it's been pretty funny with the pandemic because people have wanted to come to Vermont, you know, and the housing market has been great. And I just say, well, we'll see if they last through the winter.
It's all about resilience, as Emma was talking about.
I love it. I love it. So, yeah.
Oh, it's so true. And I have to admit, other ends of the spectrum, we're cooking over here in Perth. So we've got Perth, Enniskillen, and Vermont here in the call. We've got the whole world covered.
Yeah. Let me see you guys a little bit better. My hair might be a little wild.
Adria, you are the queen of stories. So
Let's talk about it.
Share with us and unpack some of the stuff we've been talking about and the brave people have been sharing?
Yeah, the thing that I love about story is it's always the same steps, right? It's always the same steps. I define them in 7 steps of you have an idea, then you sort of go back to your normal life. You have this dream idea, then you go back to normal life and you kind of talk yourself out of it. And then you just basically resist to persist. That's step 3. You keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you know, and then finally something happens that makes it so you have to go forward, right? You have to go forward. There isn't any option any longer. Trevor wrote in, he decided to write the book. There's just nothing, he can't go back now. He can try, sorry, Trevor, but the ship has sailed. You're gonna, now you get to the last 3 steps of story that I think people miss, and they're so important because people get stuck in the middle of their story and they don't get out of it. By step 5, help arrives. Help always arrives, always, always, always. And then you have to confess and relax about what you really want. This is really hard. If you don't do that, you don't proceed. And once you have confessed and you relax and you chill out, then you I really want this book to be published, or I really want to be married, or whatever that confession is, or I've been dishonest with myself and I don't love that person anymore. Whatever that confession is, you have to let it go. You have to let it go and then commit to your new self before your story ends and you're triumphant. And triumph is always waiting for you. But what happens in story is that we don't let help in. That's almost always what happens. We don't let the help arrive. Or we think that with the help that arrived was a curse rather than a blessing. So we contract a disease, we get divorced, we find that our partner is cheating on us, we get in a car accident, something happens that's really dramatic. And if you think of movies, you know, this is the part where that last final bad thing happens before the hero says, okay, forget it, I'm doing it, I can do this, right? It's like that final dip. And what
struggle before the breakthrough, isn't it, Adria? The struggle before the breakthrough.
Yeah, and really the confession is the same thing as the breakthrough, is the same thing as letting go. That's the same language. I'm just using, you know, how it works. And I'm telling you, test it. You guys know me. Other people might not know me on this. I test my stuff.
You know what you're talking about.
I research my stuff for decades before I say something out loud to anyone else. And it is like a variation of the hero's journey. or the heroine's journey, or any journey. I mean, even getting a cup of coffee in the morning is a story. Everything we do is a story. We're just always repeating these same steps. I have an idea. I go backwards. Am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Okay, I'm going to do it because it's due. I have to get it done, or I'm really tired and I need that cup of coffee. And we admit that we need it, and we triumph. I know it's simple, but the more we can get into the rhythm of letting help arrive, right? Letting things happen, letting the kettle boil the water is the help that arrives for a cup of coffee, right? Like, it's very
not just sitting watching it, waiting for it to roll.
Right. It's very interesting though. And if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. And so people just sit in that same sort of cesspool, messy middle, never really letting themselves, never saying, okay, this is what I needed. I'm going to confess. I'm going to let myself break through. I'm going to, to your point, Emma, for the miracle of intent, I'm going to tell this story. Once I've told this story, I talk about it all the time. It's no big deal. Once we let our secrets go and we tell our story, we're free. I mean, once I figured that out and really got it, I started confessing all over the place. Yeah. I'll confess I'll tell anybody anything because I don't want to hold anything back from my progression in life. I want to say, oh, hello, Fear. How are you? Let's have a dance and move forward because I want to keep moving my stories forward. Yeah. I want to keep going. I don't want to be stuck and resistant to what's on offer. And I think that our story is our everything. That's how we all communicate about everything. It's the language of being a human is to talk in story. Absolutely. Right?
Can I just touch on Melissa's comment there? Like, Melissa, like, that is a total thing to say to free yourself to move on to the next step. Where Melissa said, one part of my story is that I never was gifted the gift of physical motherhood, which left me feeling inadequate for a very long duration of my life. Right. Like, that is confessing that you feel this way about something that, and then that can be so freeing to move forward in this.
And then what will happen, my guess would be that Melissa's going to start to find thousands of ways that she's a mother. Thousands and thousands and thousands of ways that
she's a grandmother.
And a grandmother and an auntie and a beautiful friend and an amazing contributor to the planet, right? It is there. You don't have to physically birth something to be a nurturing, think about motherhood on an archetypal level, right? Think of it as what that represents. I've never been a father, but that doesn't mean that I
don't want to be a father.
That doesn't mean I don't act like one, that's for sure.
I love that.
Just take this moment to say, hello, Dad. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Right? And only when we can confess are we really, to me, are we free to start to invite that new self into the world.
And it doesn't mean that your story is not as valid as, a motherhood story. It just, everybody's story is important and comes together for the whole bigger picture, for a community, for a country, for a world, all of those stories unite and come together.
Your story is your nature. That's the nature of you. And stepping into the nature of you is stepping into the whole of you. That's why story is so important, and telling our story and talking about our story and knowing ourselves and knowing what's important to us. Every hero goes from what they don't have to what they want, right? That's what we're all doing. So I want it, but I don't got it. And we triumph by, I want it and I got it.
Yeah.
Right?
I adore Adria's brain and how it works and simplifies everything for us, because it's not simple when it's filtering through her, but she brings it out and simplifies. And Adria's not just talking about it. Adria's book is called The Science of Story, guys. We're going to post links below here, so go and check it out. It's beautiful, but it's amazing, and it navigates you through your story if you're getting stuck or feel held back by your story. But Adria's not sharing the science of story for you to write your life's work. You can use it for that if you want to, but story is the basis and the foundation of us all. So it's important that we identify and know how story works, because it frees us in our lives, in everyday stories, in every moment stories, like going to get a cup of coffee. Everything is story.
And what happens if we don't know our own story, we let other people navigate our story for us.
100%.
Right? So if we don't know who we are, we don't know what our story is, we don't know what's important to us, we don't know how story works, then we look to them for answers. When the only person that ever has an answer for you is you. Period. End of.
Love it. Love it.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Right?
You're in control of your own life, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, lot for people to, that's a lot for people to accept, though, isn't it? You know, because to be so in control of your own life and how, you know, how your life plays out, that's a lot of responsibility for some people, but it is true. So true.
Ultimately, you learn that it's so much easier to just worry about you and not try to fit into the mold of their story for you, right? Eventually you do that, but you really have to say, I mean, you are going to have to give up victimhood. You are going to have to give up blame. You're going to have to take those on as your own and say, yep, I did that. I did that bad thing. I did that bad thing and that bad thing and that bad thing.
That's all part of all our different sides.
That's how you learn.
Sides. Yes. Anybody can do it. It's just whatever you feed or whatever you choose to act upon. So everybody has all those sides. So own your story. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And here you go. Confess to someone. Confess to yourself in your journal. You know, whatever it takes to free yourself from the binds that you're putting on yourself. Because everybody really wants to know the real you anyway, including you, right?
That's right.
That's a full-time job. What does Adria think is a full-time job? I don't have any time to worry about what everybody else is thinking.
Got about 2 minutes here, so I'm going to ask if anybody has a question. It's you know, Adria, can I ask you just a question as well? You know, the stories that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, can you just talk a little bit about that? You know, the conversation we have with ourselves. Yeah,
which is the most important thing. And to pause and go, am I full of it? Is that really true? Like, is that really true? Like, is that really what you think? And the best thing that I do, and I'm slightly addicted to it, which may make me a little crazy, but I write myself a letter. I totally write myself a letter. Yeah. I just talk to myself, because for me as a writer, that's a really natural way for me to go, you're full of it, or why are you worried about that? Or could you be a little gentle with yourself? Or there's no rush, or everything is working out. Because my soul self, when I'm writing a letter to myself, is such a nice person. You know, she's just so much gentler and softer and more encouraging. And it may be that if we're in a bad spot that we can beat ourselves up, but I would then challenge, if that's a problem that you have, which is true and can be that our voices are more shadowy, more dark, then have it from someone that loves you. So write a letter to yourself from, say, a beloved grandmother or your father or somebody that cherishes you. It's very shocking in a good way, in a positive way, what comes forth when we actually have a question. And then as we get more advanced, I mean, we just like look at it and go, anger, where are you coming from? Like, what's that about? Like, we can really just start talking to our emotions, which is really what we're kind of going for, right? Is to say, why am I feeling like this? And ask, you know, almost asking I just sort of ask my, whatever is bugging me. Like the other day I was having a hard time breathing. I just asked my breath what it needed, you know, like, what do you need, breath, to calm down? Right? Which was that I need love. It was the most shocking answer. I just couldn't believe it. I feel abandoned. I feel like you're abandoning me and I need your love. That's what my breath said. I know everybody's thinking this one was a cuckoo.
No, not at all. And that's profound. I mean, if you're able to do that, I'm part of a coaching group here, and it's a group of ladies, and we name our emotions, like Susie self-sabotage, or you know, beautiful Lisa Strutt, and she names them. So you name it. Right. Okay, Angus, anger. Why are you here? What are you here to teach me?
Yeah.
Name it.
Right. And they'll talk right back to you. It's amazing. Yeah. And they're very insightful. it's almost
It's
like
the whole
you get out of
road.
the way of it. It's very interesting. I would really encourage people, because the stories, the self-talk is still a big problem for a lot of people, right? And we want to, your self-talk should be that talk of the soul. Try to get to your soul level, to say this soul, the soul part of you knows there's nothing wrong with you. You never are wrong. There is not one wrong thing you could do. And I don't care what that is. I mean that wholeheartedly, all across the board. That to your soul, to your God within, you do nothing wrong. Now, if you're not happy, then let yourself be carried forward to a better day-to-day feeling in your own skin, because that's really the ultimate goal, right? That we feel good as often as possible, right?
Yeah. That's my goal.
That's my goal. Yeah, all day, every day. That's what I'm about.
I'm not apologetic for it, but
No,
absolutely.
absolutely.
But the whole act of writing it out gets it out of your head, where it's emotional, it's a mush. It gets it out of there and makes it a tangible thing that you can actually work with. And that's why, that's why it's so important to. And Adria, I have received some of your letters, and your soul's just so beautiful how it articulates and writes things. So it's a beautiful thing to write letters. So if anyone takes anything from this, do that for yourself and do it for others as well. Let's get letters back out there. They are beautiful. I adore the letter writing process. Mom, I'm going to write you one today. Mom loves receiving letters. So yeah.
Oh, who doesn't, right? It's the best. It's the best.
Adria, we're like 10 minutes over time, so we're going to have to look.
It happens.
We could talk on this all day.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. Where can everybody come and get more of you?
Yeah. Oh, you're the best. Thank you both so much.
Where can we come and get more of you, Adria? Yeah.
Oh, adriapeters.com. So you could just put it there. Yeah. It's pretty easy. Yeah.
Beautiful website. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye, Adria. Oh, isn't it?
Oh, she's unreal, isn't she? Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. And the insights and all of these things, it's just so wonderful. She has done
a lot of research on it, and that, it's coming from experience, it's coming from knowledge, it's coming from research. She just blew me away when I met her in the castle.
I call Adria the quantum queen, because it's science first, and then, so it's all there, but then it's all connected into the loving intention of delivering it to the world. And we adore you. Okay, we've got some comments coming in here. Sinead Welsh said, and actually you should check out Sinead Welsh. She's Kind Minds, isn't she, Emma?
Yes, Kind Minds.
She's got an app called Kind Minds. Adria, you would love that. So Sinead says, thank you, ladies. Love this. So glad you enjoyed it. And Melissa says, brilliant conversation. Writing our story is so healing. Thank you for all the takeaways, beautiful souls. And there's been lots of takeaways, hasn't there, Emma?
It's just been like, oh, God.
Can you unpack it in about 30 seconds?
Oh, my goodness. Be kind to yourself. Get to know who you are. Write it down. Get it out of your head and onto paper. I say that all the time as well, believe it or not. Get it onto paper so that you can kind of to get a brain dump onto the page, but also to make a wee bit of sense of it as well. Do you know what I mean? So really connect with yourself. And what I got out of it was that 7 processes of a story. So watch it back and listen to those 7 processes again, because they're nuggets.
Do you see how Emma does that now? It's just instant. She just like...
I do be listening.
She's taking mental notes. Okay, if Karen gets me and asks me this, I'm going to be ready to deliver. Oh, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We're always going to go over when we have guests, because we could speak to them all day, and we're always going to bring you amazing humans. And next week we've got Peace and Katie from the Women's Business School are coming in, and Osmompreneur Network. Next week's an amazing week, so it's going to be so much fun, and we cannot wait to share these amazing humans with you. You're going to be so enthralled with them. But again, thank you so much to Adria for joining us today. Just absolutely, it's starting the day on the right note for me and finishing yours.
Yeah, on an absolutely perfect note. Next week's going to be such a treat as well. I am actually really looking forward to that, and what a week it's going to be like. Yeah,
and Peace and Katie are sisters, so it's sisters interviewing sisters. There we go.
It's brilliant.
Thank you everyone for watching. We hope that you got value from our episode. We just love having these conversations with you, and thank you for joining us. Please tell your friends to watch, because you never know who needs to hear our stories. Thank you guys. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.